from the oldest city in the USA, St. Augustine tonight, with our guests, Floyd and Gail Phillips, Joe Snowberger, Jackie Hurd, and musical guests Jael and Gabrielle. With your host, Jorge Rivera.
Oh yeah, we're still alive. We're here. I thank you so much for coming to the show. It's great. It's great to have you. We have great guests, a great band. You'll be very, very shocked at how good these people are behind me. But I want to start with the thank yous that I give to the Lincoln Museum and Cultural Center, Ancient City Brewery, the St. John's Cultural Council. Look at Shirley, what she did, huh? That beautiful? That they just go beyond what you want. I want to start also by, our hearts and prayers are for our brothers and sisters in Texas at the synagogue, Beth Israel, that congregation there. Boy, when something like that happens, you have this feeling this is going to go really bad, because it usually does, that they all got out of there alive and physically not harmed, because I know they're dealing with the psychological trauma of what happened. But let's give them a hand for their bravery, thinking God is good, Jehovah was good on that day, and our prayers go to them. Also to our brothers and sisters in Tonga, that volcano. Could you imagine when that thing blew, they heard it in Alaska. It's like an explosion in New York and you hear it in Honolulu. It's the same distance. They still don't know how the people are. When I lived in Hawaii, I got the privilege to meet lots of the people in the Tonga community. They're fun. They are very giving people. And my heart just broke that it happened so close to their island. And there's still ash. They can't fly in because of the ash that's still in the air. They don't know how many are dead, how many are... So the situation is really, really dire for them. So our prayers also go out to them. And I know that community in Hawaii that is enormous is just worried sick like we were in 9/11 for those who had family in New York and were wondering, where are they? Are they okay? The other thing, I saw this thing on Hurghada. I don't know if you've heard of Hurghada. Is this really nice resort on the Red Sea. I spent some time there. It's a big Russian hangout. So Dmitry is there having sun. And it's beautiful. You have dolphins in the Red Sea. Luxor isn't far. The pyramids, Cairo. So it's a great base to start, exploring Egypt. And they had, it looks like God was doing an audit. And when he went down looking at the plagues of Egypt, plague 7, I think, was hail and fire. He realized that there was still some more hail to come. They got a hailstorm that is unbelievable, which is crazy that they even had it. But, I mean, it was like rivers of hail running down the street. It was just crazy. Florida was back in the news in a way. Florida always gets in the news. I remember there was a guy, a couple of years ago, there was a guy who robbed the Wendy's with an alligator. And he threw the alligator through the drive-through window. I think the alligator turned him in under questioning by detectives. And the guy did jail, of course, and the alligator was released in the canal where he stole it from. But Florida is back in the news. Florida is back in the news in the sense that there's a glacier the size of the state of Florida that started to break. It's been breaking now for a while, but now it's accelerating the way it's breaking. When that glacier breaks, like they say, doo-doo hits the fan. They think it's 5 to 6 years. They're watching it. They drill holes with boiling water. I didn't know that in Antarctica. They drill holes with boiling water, and they put sensors under the ice and the water down there, and they found that that water is almost 4 degrees above freezing. And this is, for them, this is shocking. And so now lots of countries are watching this glacier to see what happens, but it gives you time to get your paddle boards, so you'll all be fine. Another thing in the news, a guy from Pennsylvania, he hit the lottery and he won $50,000. He hit the lottery again a couple of years later, won $100,000. Then he hit the lottery again a couple of years later, hit $3 million, and last week he hit another prize of $1 million. This is the kind of guy I got to hang out with. This is my buddy. We're going to Vegas together. So I thought that was crazy. Something else very interesting. There's a medication out there that's really good for Alzheimer's. It's called Viagra. They found properties in Viagra that are really good for Alzheimer's, which is a strange thing to give it to grandpa and have to lock him in the room. But they found there are these properties. So out of that, they're trying to create another drug to fight Alzheimer's. As you know, my mother has severe dementia, and that's a struggle every day. We hope, for us idiots like me, we hope that magic drug comes sooner than later. And my last little piece of news is they just made a skillet. It's 18 feet. It weighs 14,000 pounds. Pennsylvania has it. They just finished it the other day. You can't flip it over when you cook your eggs. It's too heavy. But they have the largest skillet. If you're interested, you could go to Pennsylvania, take 2 organic eggs, and see if you could cook them out there in an 18-foot skillet. You know, I mean, you could freeze it and turn it into an ice skating rink. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. But tonight we have great guests tonight. We have Joe Snowberger. We have Floyd and Gail Phillips of the Lincolnville Museum. We have Jackie Hurd, and we'll also discover an artist by the name of Fabio Manuel. And I'm going to leave you now with Jael and Gabriel.
Pienso que un sueño parecido no volverá más. Y me pintaba la facha la mano de azul. Y de improviso el viento rápido me lleva y me hizo volar en el cielo infinito.
When the sun don't shine, when success makes blind, would you still be by my side? 'cause all this love can drain. They treated me like Superman. Would you hold me down this time?
Okay, we're here with Gail and Floyd Phillips. What can I say that hasn't been said yet about these amazing two individuals here? As you know, they are the faces behind this, this museum and cultural center. For years, I've been coming here, and I remember the first time I walked in here, there were all these spider webs, and the spider said, "What are you doing here and disturbing us?" They had Russian accents, yes. And so here you are, here we are, and how is this? Tell us, where are we in this museum right now? How we've moved forward? Where are we now with all this construction? What is the goal of all this?
So we are in the middle of a phase 1 preservation project. And not a lot is visible, but you know, the mechanics are. When we came in, as you said, there were places that I was afraid to walk into.
Yes.
Not only were there, you know, cockroaches and dead lizards and cobwebs and falling ceilings and air conditioning units that weren't working and bathrooms that sometimes didn't work. So we've started on this floor with renovation of bathrooms up here. Mm-hmm. I hope everybody's noticed that. Mm-hmm. We're working on renovating a room on the front side of the building that is going to be another function space. And we actually took 3 small spaces and opened up the wall. So it's going to be another nice room that has that big palatial window on the front side of it. So that's going to be a function room. It's lots of light in there. Mm-hmm. And then we opened up another area which again had 3 tiny rooms that were not good for anything other than storage, and that's going to be our media center where we're going to house our books and have computers that will be public facing, and some other office space that we opened up on this floor. But mainly what we did was to preserve the building so that we are shoring it up so that it can stop the decay.
Yes.
And that's the main thing that we've done, that we've made it habitable in places that were uninhabitable before. Right. Where it was just unusable, so now we'll be able to expand into that space.
It's interesting because from the beginning, when I would talk to you guys, and you know, it was really a rough start because there wasn't money. We need money, people. We need money. And
still do.
Yes, and still do. But now you're getting grants that are helping you and all that. But when you say, I remember you guys would say, Floyd would say, we're getting this great exhibition from Africa, these masks, and bingo, there it was. And you say, we're going to have this virtual where you can actually walk in Lincolnville in the old days. Boom, there I was wearing this thing. We're having a jazz festival, and now we're in the middle. Is this the third?
This is actually our 4th year, and we were interrupted, obviously, for 2020.
The pandemic, yes. So now there's incredible jazz out of this place, and what you bring is so unique, so unique. And slowly, is it true that this is almost becoming like a research center slowly? Because you guys are collecting so much history.
That's true. In fact, well, first of all, let me just acknowledge the fact that we're so grateful to the individuals, to the audience who have been with us all the way, because it started with a dream, a vision. And as I shared my dream and vision with some people, and this is after the fact, 2 years, 3 years after the fact, they would say to me sometimes, you know, when you originally shared your dream and visions with us, we thought you were crazy. But now they're beginning to see it really can happen. It all starts between the ears. And we are so grateful to you, the audience, and the individuals who have just come out of the woodworks to support the efforts that we do here. And we're grateful to you for helping us to make that happen.
You're welcome.
And we're just excited to make a difference in this community. There's so much negativity in the world and in this community, and our goal is to educate, to really invigorate the young people in the community, because we have so many talented young people We have a great intern program, and some of our interns have really come through, and they've gone on to achieve great things. I was talking to Joe Marks earlier tonight about one of our ex-interns who is about to finish the UCLA Film School, but she was right here in our midst and worked with us here at the museum. And the good thing is, not one time did we ever ask anything of her that she came up with an excuse like, oh, we can't do that. No, she found a way to make it happen. So this is what we do. We make do. We make it happen. And we thank you for your support.
Yes. You have these internship programs here that also have brought some incredible people that are doing incredible things after they left here. You have someone who got a PhD. You have someone else who's in LA in film school.
Yes.
And it's these internships just, I think, are amazing. And I know you want to create more internships to be possible.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, this semester we have 2 interns. We are working on an archive project. You asked that question earlier, and that's one of the areas that we want to expand into.
Mm-hmm.
So we have an intern from the University of North Florida that has been basically gifted to us. So that intern is not costing us anything. And she started last week, and she's going to be working, or she is working on a Green Book project.
Green Book project, yes.
And that's
Tell people what Green Book is, for those who don't know.
Green Book is a travel guide that was put out between 1939 and 1968 that kind of directed black people on where they could go and find establishments that would accommodate them during the time of Jim Crow segregation. So it was hotels, it was gas stations, it was restaurants. And so St. Augustine only had 2 places listed in the Green Book officially, but there are many other businesses that fit that mold of places that were part of segregated America during that time. So we're researching all those businesses that were here, not just in Lincolnville, but in other parts of St. Augustine.
Right.
And we'll have that in an exhibit that comes out in the fall.
Yes, it was such a system of apartheid. It's crazy.
Yeah.
As much as we condemn South Africa, we were running kind of the same system here in a way. But you also, I remember you asked me to help in the video part of Women Who Made a Difference.
Absolutely.
And that was so amazing, because when you gave me and confided me with these videos, these older black people telling stories that I would have to did I hear that correctly? So much stuff that people don't know. It's, we have a saying in Latin America that says the assassins write the history, and so Native Americans can tell you about that. But the thing is that, you have to really dig in and find out what the real truth is. And that project to me was I learned so much, really.
Yeah, we all did. I think that we enjoyed doing it so much because it was a learning curve for us. That the project he's talking about is called Women Who Made a Difference. It's downstairs. It's our first attempt at our very own digital kiosk. It's totally interactive.
Yes.
So we took the lives of 5 women. And we have oral histories that are in there, we have photographs, we have backstories, we have all kinds of documents that are in there. And so it's a touch screen, so you can go to individuals and you can go to different parts of their life and just see those stories. And it's really a fascinating exhibit. And we're going to do more things like that.
These women were just so strong. I mean, you sometimes have to ask yourself, could I do that if I was challenged? And for them, it was just, go ahead, kill me. I could care less.
It was. And 2 of the women in there are still with us. One was Miss Barbara Vickers. And if you've been in our plaza, the Foot Soldiers Monument.
Yes.
She said that was her greatest feat of all the things that she did.
Yes.
And she started out as a student here at the Excelsior School, where the museum is.
Yes.
And she went off to New York and then to San Francisco.
She was a riveter.
She was a Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah, for the war.
She was a Renaissance woman. And she's still, even in her 90s, she was like just so vibrant. And we had such a great time with her. So many different facets of her life. And the other one was, of course, Miss Janie Young Price, who is still with us also. Right. And she was a friend of Dr. Martin Luther King.
And those anecdotes of her talking about King, all those you know, those very intimate moments, eating together. You know, she made him so human, you know, because we see him as, you know, it was great. It was really great. I thank you so much for asking, because for me it was a little growth period. So this phase ends when? This construction phase ends when?
Hopefully, absolutely by the end of June.
Okay.
You know, our grant period, without having to ask for an exception or an extension,
Right.
ends in the end of August. So this is a grant I wrote 3 years ago, to be honest with you, and we didn't get started until this June. We had a lot of delays, and we had to do the plans, you know, engage an architect, get it back to the Department of Interior, National Park Service, and get the state to, you know, sign off on it. All the historical documents had to be in place. So this is phase one. It was a $500,000 grant from the National Park Service, and
Wow.
we've done a lot with that 500. I mean, we stretched it all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
But we just applied for another grant from the state of Florida, which hopefully will be successful at receiving everything we asked for in that. And that grant, we hope to renovate this space, as well as do some other things like restore the tile roof that was here when the building was original, restore, or actually to redo the HVAC system for the building. We've restored some air conditioning units that were like single units, but there wasn't an overall plan in terms of how it was laid out and engineered for this entire building. So we hope to do that as well, and replace our aging elevator.
All right. And so memberships are important. You have
Absolutely.
members.
We
You
do.
have to become a member. And what are the memberships?
We have memberships that range from, I think, student memberships are $15, singles or $20. We have some family membership. We have torchbearers. We have gold, platinum, any level, you know, that you want to be a member. We have them available.
Right.
And so, you know,
Right.
we have several. The platinum, I think, is at 5,000. We have several of those that have come on, and we have a lot of torchbearers,
Right.
and a lot of gold memberships and silver memberships as well.
And you're doing something now with the Jewish community about the rabbis. A lot of people know the rabbis that were the biggest arrest of rabbis in the history of the U.S. happened here. And one of them died this last week, Dresner.
As a matter of fact, tomorrow there's a commemorative program at the temple for Rabbi Dresner, who was one of those people that Dr. King reached out to.
He's amazing.
And he came with 15 other rabbis, and they were all arrested here in St. Augustine.
Yeah, they were, and stuck all in one cell. And they wrote one of the most heartwarming letters. I get emotional, but it's beautiful. You can find it on the internet. And he said, you know, when we saw the crematoriums in Germany burning, what happened to us, we just couldn't stay. We had to. And King asked them for help, and they came. And as soon as they got here, they got clobbered and taken to prison. But, you know, under one light, you know, they wrote this letter, this statement that is so beautiful. And it's just gorgeous, gorgeous. Thank you so much. You're a treasure.
Thank you.
We love you. We'll be back with our next guest after this.
I always knew that we just had a special thing. I hurt you deep, but still we get a second chance. I know you feel just like I do. Yeah, yeah. I didn't see that we've been soulmates, didn't understand. But you've been present in my mind, never ending days. I know you feel just like I do.
Okay, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with Jackie Hurd. And the first thing I found out about Jackie when we were talking is, you're born in England.
Yes,
You're British.
I am.
What part?
Yorkshire,
Yorkshire.
Northern England.
So York is the capital.
Yes.
That's a lovely city.
It
I
is.
love the wall around it. And I was telling you that I went to a pub where they had, it was called the Roman Baths, and they actually have a bath under the pub, and they have glass. The whole pub is a glass floor, and you can see and it was just amazing, amazing. So you came here, how old were you when you came to the United States of America?
24 years.
24. Yeah. Now, when we were talking, there was one thing you wrote out that was so cute. When you were 9 years old, you got a Brownie camera.
Yep.
Who gave you that camera?
My mom.
Your mom? And why did your mom give you that camera?
We went on a school trip to London. And she said, take this camera. I think it was my grandfather's. And so I had a little bit of instruction, and off I went.
Oh, wow. And you developed those pictures. How many pictures was a brownie? Do you remember? It wasn't much, was it? Not many. Yeah. And because, yeah, some of the old cameras used to go like 12 pictures was the max, you know. And now with digital, it's 12,000, you know. And you don't have to pay for the developing. So when did your love for photography start?
That was my first recollection, 9 years old. And the funny story is I still have those photographs. And when we developed them, I didn't know how to turn the winder on, so I had triple exposures on my first pictures I took.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So when did you graduate to the next camera, and do you remember what it was?
It was a little 110 camera, my very first...
Kodak, yes?
Yeah. My very first part-time job when I was 13 years old.
Oh.
My whole paycheck went to buy that camera.
Wow. Yeah, I remember those, and those were very popular. Those became very popular camera because they were so compact. Yes, which was like, you know, like an iPhone when the phones changed. And do you remember what kind of pictures you were taking with that?
Just things I saw that caught my eye. You know, flowers and the town that I lived in and people that I went to school with. And
now you said someone gave you a camera after that, yes?
Yes, Henry Hurd.
He was your
ex-husband.
Ex-husband.
Best
Make
friend.
that clear.
Best
He's my
friend.
ex-husband. Yeah. And he gave you a camera that really kind of changed your life.
Yeah, that was my first first SLR. It wasn't digital at the time. And he'd come to visit and paid for all the developing.
Oh, that's a good
And so
deal.
he just said, take pictures. And so over the time, he would critique my photographs and say, you know, what could I improve on it? And I critiqued it myself. And I found over time, every time I've gone through that critique process, my photography has improved. So.
Better and better. Now, you have taken some wonderful workshops in the years that you've been behind photography. You told me one about McNally, the guy from National Geographic.
Joe McNally. He was one of our mentors on a trip that I took to Ireland. And that was kind of the pivotal point that I decided that's what I want to be when I grow up. So that was in 2003. Went to Ireland, and we were mentored by Joe McNally, Jill Enfield, and Barbara, I can't remember, she was a White House press photographer.
You also told me an author was with you, a famous author. Was it Angela's Ashes?
Yes.
What's his name? Frank
McCourt.
McCourt.
Yeah.
That's an excellent book.
Yeah, he was our comic relief on the buses. He was great.
I could see him.
And he lived in Ireland.
His book made me, as sad as his book was, there were points where I just cracked up laughing at some of the stories he was telling. And what did you kind of learn in that whole workshop? What did you take from it when you left?
Composition, lighting. The thing I loved about Ireland was the colors, the architecture, and the people. And that to this day is still my guiding points. And I just loved it. And we were critiqued by the photographers every evening back at the hotel in the conference room. And I remember this one time, there were 80 photographers in the room, and Joe McNally was one of these people that if he didn't like your work, he told you.
It's crap.
Yeah.
It's bloody crap.
Exactly. And some people at breakfast were very offended by that, and they were going to leave early. And I said, take it in the vein that, you're paid to be here, learn from it. So I did, and I put my photographs in to be critiqued, and he came up at the end. First of all, he asked who had taken this, and I kind of put my hand up and said I did. And he said, this excellent composition and lighting, and I was just like, wow. And he said, you really have an eye for photography. And people had told me that before, and I thought, well, they're just being nice. And then he said it, and then I went, well, maybe I do.
Yeah.
And so
it's funny how those little moments just build that confidence, not just in children, but in adults too. We always have doubt. We always, it's a very human tendency to doubt yourself for that minute. And I think those who, if you think you're a winner, you're going to win, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so now you made a change. I used to see you in events all the time. You had your long lens and you were covering events, but you made an evolution from that.
Right, well, the pandemic kind of shut all the events down. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? And I always loved taking photographs of people. And if you had told me when I first started my photography business, you're going to be photographing people and you're going to love it, I'd be like,
Because you were shy.
Shy, totally shy. I'm from England, and just somebody would say boo, and I'd go, ooh. So I learned how to bring out people's personalities, and I got really comfortable doing it. And now I just have a lot of fun with it. And people that are having photographs taken have fun.
So now you've quit all your jobs with benefits and everything, and now you just do strictly photography.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Took 15 years to get there, but
Well, and that's it. Don't quit. Something will happen, good or bad, but something will happen.
stay focused.
Yes, stay focused. And so, what is it exactly that you do now?
I take photographs of people still, but it's families and high school seniors. I found I absolutely love taking photographs of high school seniors. A lot of seniors are shy, and they have interests, and I can bring their personality out when I start talking about their interests. And then with families and seniors, I love that. And then the other aspect of the business that I've done is empowerment, empowering children and women.
And how do you do that?
Just through different techniques, through talking to them, photographing them, and making them feel comfortable. And I understand their path, so.
And you take your time. It's
Yeah.
not like, okay, stand there, click, click.
No.
It's a process.
Yeah.
It's a process of building trust,
Yeah.
them seeing that you probably can catch their, because so many people, you know how many times I've taken a picture of someone and said, I want to see it, and I'll show it to them. No, delete that. I look terrible.
Right.
And you delete the picture.
Yeah.
That happens quite, people have this thing of photography, taking their photos.
I've had a lot of people that I've taken their photograph, and they've said, oh, no, I don't want my picture taken. I hate my picture. And they said, well, I'd work with them. And I said, well, what do you think of this? Wow, that's the best picture I've ever had taken.
Right.
And I
Because you ask them the question, why do you hate your picture?
Yeah.
And then they tell you this, or
Yeah.
that, and then you
It's a very personal experience, because they're sharing with them their fears. And when I say, it's personal, it's between you and I'll make sure that you look good. And they trust you, and they relax, and then they don't even realize the camera's there.
Right. Now you use digital, of course, which is wonderful. And you can always touch it up and work with it in all these applications that are just unbelievable.
Right.
But you're also still doing your calendar.
Yes. This is my 7th year.
7 years. Her pictures are just gorgeous. I mean, some of you are lucky to go home with one. Yes, give her a hand. So, if you're lucky to get a calendar, you're also lucky that we're doing this interview in January. That means you can use all 12 months. It'd be sad if I did it in August, and said, oh, bummer. So you have that thing. So what do you see the future of your photography going? Or where do you want it to go?
Just doing what I'm doing now. Taking photographs of people.
Families,
seniors. And then also the beautiful things about St. Augustine.
You had told me of a photo you took of a girl ballerina. And that was very interesting, to get her to do her thing.
Yeah. She was very shy, and her mom was there with her, and she started smiling. And I brought that out of her. I said, wow, you have a beautiful smile. And then when I told her that, the more she'd smile more.
Yes.
And we weren't working together very long, because she had a short attention span, but during that time, her personality really started to come out. And at the end of it, she came up to me, she said, thank you so much. She said, nobody's ever told me how beautiful my smile is. And I said, don't forget this. I said, keep smiling.
Yes.
And at the end of it, her mom just was, thank you. Because she was just,
it helps.
she was beautiful.
So now, if money wasn't a question, you could have any camera in the world, what would that be? What would your dream camera be?
Probably a Hasselblad with a digital back.
$15,000, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey,
Yes.
it's less than it was.
Well, if you start with the little one, it's only $6,000, but then you got to buy the lens, which is another $6,000, you know. But yeah, they are incredible cameras. They're such. I saw a wonderful picture of a Christopher Walken. This great picture, and it was taken with a Hasselblad, and it was just unbelievable with those cameras.
Detail.
Yes.
And when they put the digital back on it, was like, ooh. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I thank you. Thank you for being here. If you don't know Jackie, she has a website. What's the website?
JackieHurd.com.
It's that simple. Okay, JackieHurd.com. We thank you for the lucky ones who got the calendars. Look for her stuff. And if you are thinking, you know, your family, portraits, things like that, you have a photographer you've met here, and I hope you just keep showing what you got, girl. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We're going to take an intermission. When we come back from the intermission, we're here back with Jael and Gabrielle. Rock the house.
Can be weak sometimes, yeah. Those flashing lights can make you blind. Faking it with the crooked smile. Hold me tight, so I stay humble all time, yeah. So when the sun don't shine, when success makes blind.
And now, once again, the Incredibles, Jael and Gabrielle.
Je suis celle qu'on voit pas, celle qu'on ne regarde pas. C'est pour ça que j'en suis là. C'est pour ça que je suis là.
I'm here with Fabio Manuel. He's what I call, we call these sliders, little mini interviews of someone who's a new artist or has a festival. Also want to bring up the St. Augustine Film Festival. It's starting in a day or so. And it's being funded by a really nice grant by the TDC. It's a cultural and heritage grant. And so that's helping that happen. So we want to thank the TDC for knowing what to support. That's very important for us. Fabio Manuel is from the south part of Florida and now has moved here to St. Augustine. He's a painter, as you can see, and he's just amazing. That's your wife on that?
Yes.
So she's, I guess you love her very much. Yes, she's in a lot of your paintings, and so she couldn't make it here tonight because she was at school or something. But what is your medium? What do you use? Oil, acrylics?
Well, this one is oil on canvas.
Oil.
And is 48 by 48 inch.
Uh-huh.
And the names of the painting is Nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, it was my last series. And it consists in the things that happened back in my country.
Mm-hmm.
The reality that how I am right now, right here. I feel this kind of sadness for my country. And the name's Nostalgia. You're looking at her eyes. It's like Cuba Island.
Uh-huh. And you can see she has a ring with the United States, and then she's in the flag of Cuba, yes?
Yeah, exactly. Because the things in her eyes is because I am right here. Because I am looking to Cuba.
Right. If you look into her eyes, you see the map of the island of Cuba in her pupils.
Exactly.
And
the ring is because, I am United States.
Yes, and the ring is because you're now here in the United States.
I want to be here, so.
Yeah, we know the struggle of our Cuban brothers to try to have a free society. The struggle has been very long, and they're still struggling. So now, when you paint like this, do you paint from your mind?
Yes. I paint from my mind, and I'm trying to make the color speak with herself.
Right. Now, most of your paintings are in private collections.
Yes. I have a private collection in some country. I have one in Italy, Spain, Brazil.
Wow.
Yes.
That's cool.
I have made.
So you take commission work, in other words.
Yes,
Someone will approach you and say,
I'd
like you to paint a person, something.
Portraits or
whatever.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And do you work in something else other than oil? Do you use like acrylic sometimes or charcoal or?
Yes, I do. Honestly, I am an architect.
Oh, you studied architecture.
Yes,
okay.
back in Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
But I really love to paint. It's my passion. Mm-hmm. And yes, I use some media, oil on canvas, acrylic on canvas, charcoal and cardboard.
Okay. There are some flyers around with his information that you could follow him. But I wanted to we're having several artists on our show during the span of the show, young artists in St. Augustine that are either private collections or in galleries that you'll see come. He's the first of this little series that I will introduce. Next week, we'll have his paintings back here so you can see them, so you don't forget him. But this is his chance to pitch, Fabio Manuel. And
thank you, guys. Thank you.
We're lucky to have you, to have an artist in our community.
Thank you so much. Man.
And I know you like this town very much, and you're making a lot of friends, and I'm really, really happy for you. He has some of these. If you wanted to buy something, they're out there, but he brought them anyway. They're really, these are a ballerina. You could see her arms, and she's standing on that one toe. He has here another picture. There's his beautiful wife again, and this one I love. It's
my lighthouse.
It's a lighthouse, and so it's great. It's great to support these young artists. It's great to look at their art. It's great to talk to them. You can talk to him later, but thank you, Fabio.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you know the deal and you know what's up. You know that I've been through a lot. You know that I don't trust. Brown sugar with the power, make my heart suck. Superwoman with the power of just one touch. I believe that your smile can make a war stop. Your love for humans is so big they don't deserve that much, cause they just wanna have a piece of something you've got. They see true happiness.
We're here with Joe Snowberger. I met Joe through Sam, who used to, what's Sam's last name again?
Sam Taylor.
Taylor.
In the house.
And he's here. He's here somewhere. He was the man behind Folio Weekly. Remember Folio? Yeah, look at him go, oh, yeah. Well, Sam and Joe got together, and they really pushed this brand called Liberty Life. And it's all about supporting our veterans and their families, not just here in St. Johns County, but how many counties?
We're Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia has the largest population of military veterans and families in Florida, third largest in the country. And like your guest last week, the publisher of Old City. Right. She came to town and said there's no community newspaper, there's no community media house. Exactly. And that's exactly what we do for the military veteran family population. It's a community. 1 in 4, 1 out of every 4 persons in those 9 counties on those 9 bases representing the 6 military branches of service.
About how many people are we talking about?
375,000 people. 1 in 4 in this community is directly related to the military, veterans, or a family member, and that's a community, and we represent them.
And they're always doing things. I think the last time I saw you was the event at the ViStar Arena.
The Vets for Vets event.
Where we
so in Jacksonville, once a quarterly, the ViStar opens the arena, and there's service people, there's veteran service folks, and they share information, and we get World War II all the way to the young guy who got out last week. Right. And they share information, and we perpetuate and make sure that we celebrate living the Liberty life in this very pro-military community.
Yeah, it's a pro-military.
St. Augustine is very pro-military. You start with your fort, Fort Marion, right?
The Spaniards.
Absolutely. Right down the street, you've got Coast the Guard. Headquarters of the Florida National Guard. You know, your lighthouse had a terrific impact during World War II. Yes. Go see the Coast Guard display in the special building that they have there about the impact that the Coast Guard had right here in St. Augustine during the war.
Now, how long has this brand been out there helping?
We've been out there hard, 18 to 19 months.
Now, you have also a podcast, you have a digital, you have print.
Yeah, we publish every day online at plug, shameless, libertylifemedia.com. We publish every day. We're a daily publisher online. We're augmented by a print medium, 375 locations across the 9 counties. We have every article that we publish, Lady Liberty will read it to you. You can just hit play and she'll read you the story. That's great. Followed by, we're on all your normal podcast channels and a weekly newsletter.
Now you have a background in the military. You were in the Navy?
I was in the Navy for a little while, about 24 and a half years. You know, like you, the Navy afforded me 52 different countries that I got to go see. And when you get back to the United States, you really understand what liberty is all about and the wonderfulness that we have here. We're a little junky right now with the stuff we're seeing, but if you step back and see the joy and the aspiration and the life of liberty that we get to live, being able to have a sense of community with those people who deliver it to us, we help young families who show up and they're serving at their first base. We help veterans who are transitioning back out to connect to employers. You know, we support veteran-owned businesses and share all the information that's out there. We help connect the VA. So it's that medium.
What do you think is the biggest challenge for the veteran now when he comes out of his service and comes into, you know, everyday life as a civilian?
See, you didn't ask me that in prelims, so I have to think about that. But, you know, I don't think that it's any, there's a nuance to it, but I don't think it's any different than any other veteran at any other time. When you go in the military, you become that lifestyle. You speak the language, you live the lifestyle. And the issue is the same from the greatest generation when World War II came home, to whatever their welcome was when the Vietnam vets came home. I'm a Cold War guy, we're in that bubble, and then now this 20 years of combat operations that we have. When you transition out, whether it happened immediately because an IED ended your career, or you did 25 years of very successful from lowest rank to an officer with a command, the transition back to being a civilian is always a challenge. But right now I think we do have to pay attention to the combat veterans that are coming back with the experience they have. But I want to end this little piece with, we're not all broken and we're not all heroes. We're regular people that went off, totally devoted ourselves to being professional and being excellent and being the best we can. Now we're coming into the civilian world and we're going to try and do the same thing, which is why companies love hiring veterans, because they want to go do those things.
Yeah, and I think, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think when we talk of the Korean vet and we talk of the Vietnam vet, I think the vet now has maybe the best support he's ever had.
Oh, absolutely.
There's so many things there for that to try to help them.
Sure, and all of those services and all of that help, the most of it came from individuals like you. All right, you have a passion for the veteran, and you have done with your tool set, with your storytelling and you're capturing your stories, you've done your contribution. And in every community around this nation, somebody has had a wounded vet come home, or somebody who's transitioning, trying to find a job, and they want to help, and a zillion nonprofits about a passion pop up. So absolutely, and we're just in a different era across the world.
Yeah, I remember interviewing 5, it was a project, it was 5 Vietnam veterans, and 2 of them were nurses.
Yes.
And wow, it was deep. It was deep, and the nurses were just so strong, and they kept breaking down. And when you keep seeing all the young boys coming in and dying. One nurse, I remember saying, there came a point where I thought I would never cry again for someone who would die, because death was just holding their hand far away from home, and there was another one gone. So it's interesting. It's great to have a vehicle with so many platforms, because you guys have a podcast too.
Yes, we do. We take all of our articles and put our podcast. But I want to clarify, we're the stage. Okay, like you bring. Last week, when you had your entire show was centered upon people who wanted to engage and share the community. Liberty Life is a stage, and the military veteran and the family member is the star. We're the platform. Most of what we produce in the content-wise is presented by military veterans and family. I work very hard at finding Blue Star family wives that are writing about their experiences and the things they do to keep their kids tied up. I've got a retired Major General Marine who took care of wounded warriors back when it wasn't a wounded warrior thing. And he writes he's a senior recruiter for Norfolk Grumman.
And also all these families find through you of programs that are out to help
we
family
share
members.
all the information, all the programs, anything pro-military or veteran-related, which happens out here in your community. Speaking of which, Norfolk Grumman.
Right here.
That plan, if you're not paying attention and you're looking for somebody to go find a job, they are hiring high tech, and that plant's about to triple in size. It hasn't been publicly announced, but they've won a huge contract to develop a great new aircraft right there, right here in St. Augustine.
Yeah, because when you travel around the world, what you see in a lot of countries is there's no stability. You don't know what's going to happen. And that's what you love so much of America, that it stays stable. Yeah, there are problems, blah, blah, but I mean, there are countries where whole governments collapse. The currency suddenly is worthless. Someone who's middle class, then tomorrow just becomes so poor. And you see these struggles with these. I spent time in Yugoslavia, in Sarajevo, to see that civil war. How some people took this beautiful country and decided overnight, let's have a civil war and just destroy everything we've built, And it was. I worked with the children, and it's sad to see kids that have no soul left in their bodies, and they're only 10 years old. So you come home, and you appreciate that hot shower.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they actually decided just to destroy it. It is a beautiful country, Slovenia. So, again,
what it's become
the Navy
now.
being able to take you to so many places. You know, this experiment called America, you know, despite when you live in the middle of it, I've been in 52 different countries, and on a regular basis, I thought, well, where am I going to go if I don't go to America? If home is no longer acceptable,
Right, where you go with home.
Haven't had to have that concept or exercise that thought. Right. But there's
because we're all here because of that.
There are very few. There are very few places out there, Jorge, that even come close to the sanctity of the liberty that we have.
Well, that's how we all became a nation. It was us running from whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're the thing. Well, listen, I thank you so much for sharing this. Please go. What's the website again?
LibertyLifeMedia.com.
Check them out. They have tons of stuff. Share that website.
Sign up for the newsletter. Pick it up. Tell me in St. Augustine or in this area that you've got a spot that you need these delivered to once in a while to share with your customers. Yeah. And then send the contribution and let's share the story of the military veterans and family here in St. Augustine and your surrounding neighborhoods to the rest of the world.
Well, I thank you and Sam for this great project.
Thanks for bringing us aboard.
It's a pleasure, my friend.
Absolutely.
I will see you somewhere with the veterans. So we're going to come back with our last, which is ending with Rocking the House with Jael and Gabriel. So we'll be right back, people.
To conclude our great show of tonight with Jael and Gabriel. So the camera doesn't cut my head, but I want to thank you all for coming, supporting this show. Every night it's just great. Remember, we have 13 shows. This is our second one. And keep supporting us, keep sharing it on platforms, and check out these people's music. They're awesome, awesome. Thank you again. See you next week.
Still be by my side. 'Cause all this love can drain. They treated me like Superman. Would you hold me down this time?